Oh my, Joey. So out of freaking nowhere, Nintendo just dropped a bit of a mini bomb, I suppose, on Twitter, also through a press release, saying that they are buying Next Level Games, the Canadian developer behind games like Luigi's Mansion, Punch-Out!, Mario Strikers, and Federation Force. So this is a bit of a surprise. What's your gut reaction to this?
My gut reaction at first was, wait, they didn't already own them?
You're not alone on that. So, a lot of people replying to that extent, being like, yo, don't they already own them? And no, they don't. And what's kind of funny is Nintendo kind of alludes to this a little bit in their announcement, because part of the reason people may have that idea is because they've basically only been making Nintendo games for the last several years. Nintendo themselves said here that more recently, Next Level Games has worked exclusively with Nintendo in developing software titles for the Nintendo 3DS and Nintendo Switch systems, including titles in the critically acclaimed Luigi's Mansion series. So even Nintendo's like, yeah, they've been making only Nintendo stuff so far, or rather, more recently.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Microsoft announced they were buying all these other studios that have been making exclusive games for them for a long time. It was kind of to that same effect too, where I was just like, huh, interesting. And I did not know that they developed the Captain America video game for Xbox 360. So that was a surprise, but it looks like we're not going to get a sequel to that game. Sorry, fans. But yeah, this is really cool news. I'm very interested to see if this changes anything. I really doubt it'll change too much, just more behind the scenes, like money-wise sorts of things. Maybe they'll make more projects under Nintendo now, but if they've been doing that for several years already, I doubt much is going to change behind in the development room. But it's really cool to see Nintendo saw an opportunity and took it, which they technically haven't taken it yet. I don't think it goes into effect until March 1st, but assuming everything goes into tip-top shape, which things like this usually do, then Nintendo's going to have a new baby under their belt.
It's pretty fitting that in the month that Mario dies, Luigi's Mansion gets a new life thanks to Next Level Games.
Exactly.
No, I think what you said there was pretty much entirely it. Nintendo here themselves basically say that the reason they purchased them is because an opportunity arose because the current shareholders were looking to sell their claim, and it seems like Nintendo's like, well, we don't want Next Level Games going anywhere else. Might as well keep them here for us. So it's exciting on the one hand that, Nintendo is buying another Western developer. It's been quite some time since this has happened. It hasn't. I think Retro Studios was their last Western acquisition. So this brings them back up to 3 since they lost Rare. So they now have Retro Studios, Nintendo's NST. God, I drew a blank there for a second. And now Next Level Games. So that's cool on the one hand. It's like, hey, it's nice that Nintendo's continuing their continuing a Western development front. On the other hand, as you're saying, this isn't going to change a whole lot. Next Level Games has been effectively exclusively Nintendo for the last several years. I was looking at their 10-year history, and at first I'm like, oh, half of the 8 games they developed over the last 10 years were non-Nintendo. But then I realized all 4 of them were released from over 5 years ago, and unless there's something else in development for a third party that we didn't know about up until now, Nintendo's not really gaining anything developmentally that they didn't already have, because they were already effectively Nintendo exclusive. So yeah, this just seems like Nintendo basically locking in Next Level Games, while also ensuring that they can better share technology and development resources back and forth, as they also allude to here. So it might make development a little bit easier, but by and large, yeah, it's not going to change anything really. There is now the fact that Nintendo is directly funding them, of course, so they could always increase the funding, grow the studio size if they want, perhaps. But that'll be more of a long-term thing anyway. So yeah, it's such a weird thing. It's on the one hand, it's exciting, Next Level Games isn't going anywhere. On the other hand, you weren't expecting them to, so it doesn't really change a whole lot.
Yeah, and it's strange today. I was thinking, before this all even happened, I was thinking about, I think we even brought up Federation Force or something, and I was just thinking, I wonder what Next Level Games is working on next. And then this news comes out, and it's like, well, we all know it's going to be a Nintendo thing, obviously. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't think this purchase is going to hint at an announcement coming soon on what their next game is going to be, or we're not going to see the effects. We're probably never going to see the effects of this acquisition as gamers or even gaming YouTubers. We're not going to see what happens. It's mostly going to be a money thing, and like you said, it's Nintendo making sure Next Level stays around, which was a smart choice because they're like, wait a minute, Next Level makes us money. Let's put more money into this and make more money as a result.
if Luigi's Mansion is about anything, it's about sucking up a lot of money. So
exactly.
Who knew it was a stand-in for Nintendo all this time?
Exactly. It's a front.
Interestingly, Nintendo does note that this acquisition will have only minor effects on Nintendo's results for the fiscal year, which, on the one hand, like really makes me wonder what Next Level Games was going for. Like, maybe it wasn't all that much money, but then again, with Nintendo wrecking as much money as they are, even a large purchase may not have that big of an impact on their bottom line, considering they're just making all the money at the moment. But I do think it is interesting that this is seemingly a similar situation to what we had with Rare, where the owners of Rare, the majority shareholders, were looking to sell, and in that case, Nintendo, like, it was too rich for Nintendo's blood, and that's why Microsoft ended up buying them. Obviously, in this case, it seems like Nintendo didn't end up in a bidding war with any other company, and they may also have perhaps learned a lesson from Rare, being like, maybe we shouldn't lose one of our key development partners and actually bring them in-house. So it is just kind of reassuring on that level, because, with Next Level Games being unofficial before, a third-party developer, they didn't have to be exclusive to Nintendo. They could have taken on other projects if they wanted to, and they could have just kind of faded away, Marty McFly style.
It makes me wonder, since Microsoft's buying all these studios, I wonder if they were just like, for a second, maybe, just like, we
could screw Nintendo one more time.
Exactly, and then Nintendo came and said, no, not this time.
So I am interested to see just if there will be any difference to us as a consumer. Like, we're already thinking ourselves there probably won't be, but I do wonder if maybe there could be. Is it possible that Nintendo will grow the studio more, maybe give them more access to even more of their brands? Like, they've been fairly close. They've already worked with many of Nintendo's properties, including Metroid to some degree, Luigi, and Mario with Mario Strikers, and Punch Out as well. Yeah. So that's a pretty diverse array of IPs there. So I wonder, could they be given something else to work with now?
I would love that. I don't see Luigi's Mansion 4 being their next game. I really don't. I don't think we'll see Luigi's Mansion 4 for another 7 years, maybe. But with that, thinking about that, when I looked up Next Level Games Wikipedia for the news video I just came up with, it says they only have 50 employees there. Granted, I don't know how up to date that Wikipedia article is, but I know development studios can be around the small to the mid-range, but it would be interesting to maybe see them hire more people, get a sort of like how Retro Studios invested a bunch of money into reinventing their space. Maybe the same thing can happen with the Next Level. Who knows? Next Level's probably most likely been working from home for the past year, so maybe there's some room there. It's all wild speculation at this point, but I do want to know what Next Level Games is working on next, and the exciting part is we may never know until it's announced. We can never know.
And it might be a while, just looking at their recent release schedule, in which they've over the past 7 years, they've made 3 games. And those were Dark Moon, Metro Prime, and Luigi's Mansion 3. So 2 of the 3 were Luigi's Mansion games too, though I agree with you. I think they're going to be sitting on that one for a while, especially with how evergreen Switch games have proven to be. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to make a sequel to Luigi's Mansion when Luigi's Mansion 3 will probably continue to sell just fine by itself.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that does make me think it's probably going to be at least another year before we even hear of what they're actually working on. If even then, it could be possibly 2 years. But I do hope. I think there's a chance it could be Mario Strikers. Like, we have, it feels like Nintendo's been kind of missing. We've been missing out on some of those Mario sports games besides Mario Tennis. Besides Mario Tennis.
Yeah, Mario Tennis.
And it'd be awesome if they brought back Strikers, which could be a really fun game on the Switch, particularly with online. That was one of the first online Wii games. So come on, let's bring that back. But at the same time, I would also love for them to, explore something new. But I do think this means that we'll probably be seeing, I imagine we'll be seeing them continuing in the same vein, at the very least, working with existing Nintendo properties, rather than making their own, at least for their next project. That's just my guess.
Or it could be, Punch Out too. Who knows?
It's
up in the air at this point. I could also just predict that maybe they're working on a new Nintendo franchise, like wasn't there a rumor? I don't think Next Level worked on this, but wasn't there a canceled Chic game? I don't know if it was them. It might have been Retro, but I would love to see something to that vein. After seeing Luigi's Mansion 3, or not even just playing the game, seeing the game, I'm just like, Next Level is beyond a AAA at this point. They are quintuple A. That game is just an absolute beautiful gem of a masterpiece. And they should be rewarded by doing whatever the heck they want. Of course, that's probably not going to happen under Nintendo's umbrella, but it would be nice to think that.
Yeah, Nintendo can be a little restrictive at times, but it's still, this is a studio that got away with Luigi doing the suck it symbol, so there's there's really, I don't know, there's really a cap to what Next Level Games is capable of.
Didn't Mario Strikers, I saw Imran Khan post this on Twitter, wasn't Mario Strikers the reason why Nintendo was all of a sudden, so strict on how Mario was perceived? Because he looks so angry in that game, and every other Mario character looks so evil.
It very well could be. That might have been the catalyst for for the kind of Mickey Mousing of Mario for a while there. We had at least. So
hilarious.
It's really funny. But yeah, I mean, even if they are just a 50-person studio, their output is impressive just in terms of the overall quality of most of their games. I think there may be some disagreement over Metroid Prime Federation Force, but that Luigi's Mansion was great, Punch-Out was great, Mario Strikers fantastic. Would love to see what else they can have in next. So I guess real quick, what would be your dream IP? We've already kind of touched on it a little bit, but what's your dream for them to take on, for them to adapt and maybe update for modern times?
That's a really good question. The first thing that came to mind is Kid Icarus, but that's Sakurai's baby, Sakurai, though. Yeah. It's Sakurai's. Gotta get Sakurai to do another Kid Icarus game, man. But yeah, this is interesting. Oh, of course, if I'm speaking of franchises that have been dormant for a while, Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong hasn't had his own game since Tropical Freeze, he's been in and out. But I feel like Next Level could think of something unique that's not a country game. It's like a 3D platformer of sorts. I would love to see them possibly do that.
You think they could take it to the next level?
I think they could. Believe it or not, it's in the name.
I would love for them to bring back Ice Climbers. I mean, they're Canadian. They know all about igloos. Right?
Yes.
So no, I don't know. I feel like Ice Climbers, if there were a studio that could update them for modern times and do something fun and unique with it, I think they could figure it out. Maybe make it some kind of if not proper, if not a fully co-op game, make it obviously a partner-based game. Could be somewhat quasi platformer. Maybe throw in some, I don't know, some puzzles you solve as you climb your way up. I don't know
exactly.
But Ice Climbers would be great.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, whatever they end up doing, I'm excited for. So any other thoughts on this at all, Joey? Whether it's your raw reaction or things you like them to do, or things you hope Nintendo does with them from this point on.
Yeah, I hope Nintendo just trusts them the most, and they obviously do trust them if they're willing to just buy them and keep them in business. But yeah, Nintendo knows how talented they are. They're extremely talented, and I just hope that whatever they work on next, they get to take their time with it. They get to figure out how to make the next best thing after Luigi's Mansion 3. That's my wish. Whether it's a sports game, whether it's something like a platformer, I don't care as long as it's great.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm excited for whatever it is. If it's Mario Strikers, Luigi's Mansion 4, maybe not Federation Force 2. Almost anything I'll be excited for.
We need a Switch port of Federation Force before Federation Force 2. Come on now.
There we go. Yeah, I would say probably the best part about this news is, again, not that we expected anything different, but this does just cement Next Level Games' place in Nintendo's catalog. We know, hey, they're not going anywhere. They're gonna be working on something else next. Their next game will obviously be, something for Nintendo, of course. And it's probably already in development. I just want to know what it is. But probably it'll be a little while before we find that out.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's about it, everyone. That's our discussion on our reaction to Next Level Games joining the Nintendo family officially. That's pretty exciting. So let us know what you think in the comments below. What game do you hope they're working on next for Nintendo Switch? I'd be very curious to hear what ideas you all may have. And with that, thank you for watching. Click that subscribe button. Check out those links on the right now with links to some of our other videos that are probably worth checking out. I'm a little bit biased, but you should do it. And with that, we'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.